Hello, budget bakers. I am back again today, Deanna Martinez Bay, with another delicious and affordable recipe. Today, we are making shortbread. And not only are we making shortbread, we are making shortbread with a lemonade icing. Wait until you taste this deliciousness. So this is what we have today to make our recipe. I've got 2 sticks of softened butter, which has been brought to room temperature. And then just 2 more ingredients for the shortbread. We've got flour and sugar. So shortbread is simply butter, sugar, and flour. And that's it for the shortbread until we get to the icing. But the icing is only 2 ingredients. So there you have it. So just so you're aware, I've got my mixer, I've got a 9x13 pan, which is, I use the term loosely, lined with parchment paper because it doesn't stay until you put the shortbread in it. And then for the icing, we're using powdered sugar and lemon juice. When we get to the icing, I'll give you some tips and tricks and ideas about the icing for later. But for right now, I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees because this is going to bake for approximately 30 minutes. And, and the shortbread itself costs between $6 and $6.50 to make, very affordable. And then the icing is approximately $1.65. So you can make this dessert for in the vicinity of $8, and it will make almost an entire 9x13 pan, and you can cut them into smaller pieces to feed more people. And I'll show you that when we get there. But anyway, let's get started. Let's get started with our shortbread. So I've got my mixer with my attachment, which yes, you can see. This is the attachment. I believe you can see it's got the rubber on the edges, and I like that because it scrapes as it goes. I always use salted butter when I'm baking, even if a recipe calls, like if I'm trying something new and the recipe calls for unsalted butter, I always use salted butter because I think it adds another level of deliciousness to my baked goods. So that's just one of my little tips for you. I am a cottage bakery owner, and which means that my kitchen was certified so that I can bake from home and sell my baked goods to the public. And I am also a pastry chef. So here we go. I've got my softened butter in my mixer, which I'm going to turn on, and you probably won't be able to hear me. But what we're going to do is I am going to add to the butter a half a cup of sugar and then 2 tablespoons. It all goes in together, and we're going to cream it. To cream butter, you're adding air, and depending on the speed and the power of your mixer, depends on how long it will take to actually cream the butter. But normally it's about 5 minutes-ish. It just depends. It could be a little shorter, it could be a little longer. So I'm going to get that going. I'm going to add my half a cup of sugar, just regular sugar, and then 2 tablespoons of sugar. I know it's crazy. It's like, why can't you just add a half a cup? Because it's not right. It doesn't taste right. All right, there we go. I'm going to get this going. Probably won't say too much. Let's cream the butter. Oh, real quick. If you're going to make this recipe and you realize, oh my gosh, it says that my butter has to be room temperature and your butter is in the refrigerator, all you have to do is take out the sticks in the wax wrapper, pop it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, feel it. If it's not yet soft to the touch, but you don't want to melt it, you just want it soft to the touch. If it's not soft to the touch, put it in for another 10 seconds. That should do the trick. And then if not, just a few seconds at a time until you can touch it and it leaves a dent in the butter without melting it. You don't want it melted because it will totally change the consistency of the shortbread and it won't be right. Okay? All right, let's go. Started out on 2. Now I've moved it up to 4, and I'm going to let it do its thing. All right, it's looking good. I've grabbed a spatula even though my attachment has the rubber on the outside, I still need to scrape the sides down because you want to make sure it is very well incorporated. And right now, it is a mild yellow color, so it has lightened a good bit. I am actually going to put it back on just for another minute or so and let it aerate some more. All right, friends, this looks really good. I'm going to scrape down the sides one more time. This is probably one of the easiest and yet delicious recipes you'll ever make because shortbread is buttery, and the way that I make it like shortbread bars, so they're chewy and not crispy, but they're so delish. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my flour. We're going to do 2 cups of flour, and you do want to make sure they're even scoops. So you can actually just go ahead and put the 2 scoops of flour in, but when you turn it on, you better turn it on slowly or you know what's going to happen. All right. Here we go. We've got 2 cups of flour in there. So when I turn this back on, I am going to start on the lowest setting. Okay? The lowest. And we're going to leave it until it starts to mix up. Then we can turn it up once some of the flour is incorporated. It's starting. All right, you can hear that? You hear how like the mixer is starting to struggle a little? Now it's time to turn it up just a little bit more, like a half. Okay, still sounds like it's struggling. One more time. There we go. Doesn't take much. Excuse me. All right, this looks great. So I have this little trick that I like to do to get the dough off the beater. So I always lock my mixer when I'm using it. So now I'm gonna unlock the mixer and I'm gonna turn, could be a little dangerous, keep your hands away. But I'm gonna turn it on and lift it up a little bit. And what's gonna happen is the dough is gonna stick to the sides and come off of the beater. A clean beater. Can't beat that. All right. So I am going to scrape it down though, because what's my motto? Deanna doesn't waste. All right. I think that's what makes me a good budget baker. Okay. All right. Very good. So that's clean. I'm going to just go ahead and remove that and put it in the sink for cleaning later. Okay. Now I'm going to put this in the sink and I'm going to pick up my wooden spoon because this batter is thick, okay? The dough is thick. So I need to scrape it out, but I need something better than the spatula, something stronger. All right, so see what I'm doing? I'm pushing down the sides and it's coming together. I'll show it to you, but it's coming together in a ball in the center. You want to get every bit of it. Trust me. All right. Here's what we got. See that? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that ball of dough and we're going to put it right on the parchment paper. Okay. Now, you know, this is going to take a little bit of finesse, but it's okay. We'll get it. We'll get it right. Now, what's going to happen after we get all of the dough put in the 9x13? It doesn't really cover the entire 9x13. So you'll have like an inch or 2 on the side without dough. And that's cool. It doesn't matter because it doesn't run. The dough doesn't run. It's too thick to run. And then as it bakes, it does puff up. And chances are it'll fill in that area of the pan. And even if it doesn't matter. All right, so we have everything there. So what I'm going to do, I am going to take my clean hands and I'm going to press the dough. And you have to work a little quick because your hands are warm and it'll start sticking. And like I said, it's kind of a pain, but it's worth it. So you want to spread it, I'd say about 1/2 inch thick. And you want to keep it as consistent as possible with that 1/2 inch because you want it all to bake the same. You don't want one side lumpy and thick and one side thin, because then what's going to happen is the one side that's thicker is going to be chewy, and then the side that's thin is going to be crispy, which is cool. That's fine. I mean, you can do it like that if you want to, but my preference is I enjoy the chewiness of this particular recipe. This recipe was actually given to me, oh gosh, many years ago by a lady that I knew. It was her mother, and she made it for Christmas one year, and I had to have it. I said, please, can I have the recipe for that shortbread? And since then, I've come up with my own variations, such as the lemonade icing. I also do it sometimes. I'll add instant coffee granules and mini chocolate chips to the shortbread, and I call it Mocha chip. And then also, you don't have to ice it. You can leave it plain. You can add nuts. You can do so many different things. It's a very versatile recipe. And even for the icing, if you're not into lemon, you can add different extract flavors and make the icing whatever flavor that you want. You can do vanilla, you can do almond, you can do pumpkin spice, just whatever you like. I thought about doing pumpkin spice because, as you can see, I've got my fall decorations out because it is officially fall. But we love the lemon. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I am going to go ahead and pop this in the oven. Let me show it to you real quick so you can see. See that? It's nice and even, but it doesn't quite make it to the sides. It doesn't quite make it. But you'll see after we bake it, it's going to puff up and it's going to fill it in also. Like, I don't know if you've ever made a cookie cake, but cookie cakes tend to do the same thing. You don't push the cookie cake all the way to the outside of the cookie pan because it's going to grow as it bakes and fill in the area. Anyway, all that being said, I'm going to pop this baby in the oven. I'm going to bake it for 30 minutes and check it. Then I'm going to let it cool for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to pop back on here. We're going to make the icing. We're going to ice it. And then we're going to cut it. And I might have someone here who's willing to be a taste tester. All right? Be back in a minute. All right, well, my shortbread has baked. It wound up baking for 35 minutes. I checked it at the 30-minute mark, and I thought it needed to be just a little bit more brown on top, so I popped it back in for 5 more minutes. But here we are. It is done. It is complete. I let it cool. I actually popped it in the fridge for a few minutes, and now we are going to make the lemonade icing, okay? So I have my powdered sugar, and I have a 4-cup Pyrex right here. So I am going to go ahead and add, let's see, let's go with a cup of sugar. So you can either drizzle this with the icing or you can coat it. I'm going to coat it. All right, so we're gonna do 1 cup. That's about 1 cup. And then I've got my lemon juice here. So we're gonna start out with 1 tablespoon. See how that looks. I suspect we're going to need more. So we'll do the 1 and whisk it up. Yep, it's definitely not smooth, so we're gonna add another tablespoon. Whisk it up. Now you can simply just add the lemon juice with the powdered sugar if you want to. Mine looks like it needs to be just a little bit thinner, so I'm gonna add a dab, whatever, of water. Just a little dab. All right, that is looking good. You guys see that? Very good. You can also use fresh lemon juice, like if you want to squeeze it yourself. You can do that. I went with the packaged variety. All right, so let me grab a little spatula here. All right, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move it over so you guys can see it. I'm gonna take my icing and I'm going to pour it right on top of the shortbread. So what you want to do is, I'm going to coat it. Like I said, you could drizzle it if you want to. But you really want to let this dry and it'll get like a crisp coating on top. You could also add some lemon food coloring if you want to, but I prefer to leave it natural. Yep, you want it to get crispy on top, so you want to actually leave this out and let it dry, air dry. All right, so we're going to spread it on. But, of course, I have some special taste testers waiting for me to give them the signal to come in. Not time yet. And they are going to come in and taste it, so there's no time to dry it. But when you eat it, I highly recommend that you let it sit out and dry, because if not, the icing wet is extra tangy. All right, that's it. Boom. It's done. There we go. I am going to get a knife and I'm going to cut a piece for my special taste testers that can come on in now. I will introduce you to my taste testers. Come on over. All right, I've got 2 today, not 1 but 2. All right, my daughter Felice right here and my husband Greg right here, and they are going to taste this for me because this is one of our favorites. All right. So now, guys, you know, it's not like crispy on top yet, so it's going to be a little extra tangy, okay? Piece for you. You want to come into the camera so they can see you and make sure that you really like it. It's good, right? Yeah. How's the texture of the shortbread? Does it taste good?
Yeah.
Tastes right? Okay. So tell me, is the texture of the shortbread, is it crunchy? Is it chewy? What are you thinking?
Soft.
It's soft?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. And the edges, are they a little on the crunchy side?
No.
Yeah. Oh, did you eat an edge yet?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I see you eating the center.
Oh, yeah, it's crunchy.
Okay. So, yes. So, the center is soft and the edges are crunchy. And it's absolutely buttery and delicious.
Very
All right.
good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, until next time, friends. See you soon.